I believe that constitution needs to be looked into, and it needs to be jettisoned, and it needs to be completely changed for the benefit and for the good of Nigerians.
As with everything in Nigeria, it looks as if the attempts to raise a fresh constitution, which the eminent group known as the Patriots called for during a meeting with President Tinubu last Friday, will be messy.
Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are watching from. So today I just want to quickly get back to something that happened a couple of days back, where we have some Nigerians, elderly Nigerians that call themselves the Patriots. So these Patriots are Nigerians in well-established positions, or that have been in the struggle of Nigeria for many, many years. So at this point in time, they, gather themselves and call themselves the Patriots, in which they are like a think tank, think for Nigeria and think for where Nigeria needs to be and how it needs to get there. Now, the other day when I was watching these, and even before that, when they were saying they were going to see Tinubu in order to present what they think, and they were talking about looking into the constitution and probably changing the constitution so it can benefit all Nigerians. Now, even before the meeting, I was telling myself that now I looked at all the names and all the people that call themselves the Patriot. I look at those key figures that have headed the Patriots for the past maybe 10 years or more. I have not seen any northern name in this Patriot organization. And then what happens is that the moment a thing like that happens, the next thing is that the northern parts of the country will say they have been exempted and this thing cannot forge ahead. Even though what the Patriot did, I have seen a lot of northerners criticize it and saying that they also have elders, they also have people, they were not being included, and that decision is as dead as anything.
Clearly, Nigeria needs a political as well as an economic reboot to thrive in the 21st century. Will it get that reboot? Well, for his take on this, I'm joined now on the line from Kaduna by the PDP chieftain who was recently turbaned royal warrior of Bauchi State, Dr. Ladan Salihu, who is also a political analyst, journalist, and former Director General of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria. But from the perspective of the North in this country and the problems that bedevil that region, do you believe that a fresh, more people-oriented constitution will benefit the region?
We do not only need a reboot, we need to press the reset button to recalibrate the way and manner we operate as a nation, to recalibrate the process of government and governance, to reboot the entire political system, to rejig the character and content of not only politics but politicians and government and governance and the interrelationships between all of this. It would appear that with the best of intentions, the Patriots met, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu with their demands. And right now, I would not be saying that I'm going to speak on behalf of the North, but I'm going to give a perspective that I believe probably will resonate with the general feeling of Northerners. One would have expected that they would have reached out. They would have reached out to the northern part of the country. We have elders, we have statesmen, we have our leaders, we have opinion leaders and statesmen of repute. They are around. One would have expected to see some of these notable northern Nigerians within the rank and file of the patriots. So it would appear to me that they went with a sectional voice that is ab initio short-circuited in terms of the definition of patriotism and nationhood.
Now, this is the problem we have in Nigeria. We have a country that is so divided. You have the North, you have the South. So many things. Today, the North will come out and make decisions on certain things. Even if that thing is going to benefit the country, you will get the South, though not much of a time, will actually come out and say, oh, you the North, you believe that the country belongs to you, you are born to rule, you cannot just make decisions over the South. If the South makes any decision or take up any position on any decision or anything to be done in order to take Nigeria forward, the North will pretend as if they did not see what is happening. And after the South have already aired what they have done, like the Patriots have done, now you get the Northerners coming out and saying they were disrespected because they were not included. And the Constitution is legitimate. I have always said this. Anybody that is benefiting from something will never say that thing is illegitimate. But the points that the patriots mentioned to Tinubu, it's not that the whole thing is meant to kick off from the day they had the meeting. It's just a suggestion. And when this is actually being looked into, that is when the whole Nigeria, both the South and the North, will come together and then decide on what to do about changing the constitution. At that time, the North will be involved. But you see, we always have these back and forth arguments. And the reason is very simple. It's because we are not one.
We are bedeviled by banditry. We are bedeviled by kidnapping, cattle rustling, and people are dying left, right, and center. We need to recover from all these vices that have really emasculated the growth and the economy of the North. So when you are talking to Northerners now about changing the constitution, about bringing another system, it would appear to the rest of us in the North that you are either oblivious of what our state of our predicament is, or you are setting it aside, or you're not particularly worried that we are actually in dire straits.
Right.
Even if you were to implement these issues, how does the North conduct a referendum? I would have expected that the patriots will conduct town hall meetings across the 6 geopolitical zones to gauge the temperature of the country, to appreciate the constraints, the limitations, and the challenges of governance, to listen to the people on ground, come up with a document, even if it is just a synopsis, before going to the president.
If you looked quite forensically at what took place at that meeting between the Patriots and the presidency, the president, what they were saying basically is pretty much what you're saying. That they're asking the president to put together a constituent assembly. It's not for them as patriots to, go around the country sort of sampling opinion. It's not their job to do that. They're simply telling the president, reminding the president that this country needs a new, more representative constitution. It would then be up to the president to organize those. I mean, he's got the capacity to do that, to organize those consultations across the country. The Patriots were also talking about a constituent assembly, which would obviously be representative of all the peoples of this country. They're simply being the agent provocateurs, trying to get the president to get a move on, because they're saying that the longer you delay this constitution, the change, the more damage we do to this country, and the more we delay proper unity, proper representation, proper participation of people in the democracy of this country. So, I mean, you sound like you're also having issues with the messenger rather than the message. I mean, you talked about the fact that they didn't, you didn't sort of see any northerners within the sort of the group that went to see the president and so on. But does that water down the strength of their message? I'm trying to understand whether this, just the fact that they took a message to the president, ought to be a divisive issue, or whether the focus should be on the message that they've taken to the president.
What I want to emphasize is that it has to have the larger understanding, the appreciation of the sensibility, the sensitivity of the people of the North across the 19 northern states. We need to have these problems resolved. When we resolve these problems, then you can bring it on. The patriots or anybody can bring it on. We discuss and we move on. Right now, I want to appreciate the fact that the patriots have done whatever it is they did with the best of intentions and in good faith. But it is not particularly the number one item on the agenda of the North.
The North will want to prove that they are the one in charge, or they are the one in power, and this is the way they do things. The South will want to prove that they are knowledgeable. So if this is the case, why don't we allow everybody to go and show that their knowledge in their region? Let's simply go back to our 1963 Constitution before the military came in. Let's go back to that, where every region look after itself, and we have Nigeria at the top of the pyramid. And during that time, there was nothing like tribalism. There was nothing like insecurity. There was nothing like all these serious problems that we are having at the moment. The Constitution being one Nigeria, I don't have a problem with it, but I have always maintained, and I have always stand on it, that for us to have one Nigeria, we need a leader. We need a Sikh leader, somebody who is going to be on the part of the masses. And everything in terms of finance, cost of governance, will be cut down to the barest minimum. I know a lot of people will say we need to elect the right Senate, we need to elect the House of Representatives, we need to elect all these people. And until that happens, before we can move forward with Nigeria, yes, I totally agree to that. We can do it through election, even though it's going to take donkey years. But I believe the first thing is to sort out the Constitution. It doesn't matter whether it is the northern part of Nigeria that brought the idea forward, or it is the southern part of Nigeria, like in the case of the Patriot. Yes, I agree. There are no many northerners in that team that went to see Tinubu. But for Christ's sake, that is not the final decision. We all know that the whole problem, or 95% of the problem that we Nigerian people are facing today, is that Constitution. So to now say you want to first of all sort security, or sort unemployment, or sort this before you can then change the Constitution, that is totally unfair to Nigerians. I believe that Constitution needs to be looked into, and it needs to be jettisoned, and it needs to be completely changed for the benefit and for the good of Nigerians. Like I have always maintained, the easiest one to do is to go back to our federalist or federalism, where every region look after itself. All what is happening in the southeast today, every 20 meters you find a roadblock. Even though there are insecurities there, but these insecurities are being imported into southeast. If you leave the southeastern people on their own, you will not see this insecurity. Let the southeast look after itself, where they have their Igbo leaders and they have their everything. The same thing with the north, the same thing with the southwest, and the same thing with the middle belt. Believe you me, all these problems that we are facing as we speak today will all disappear. They will all disappear. So the first thing to look into, even if we are changing that constitution, is to revert back to our federalism, which worked for us then, and it can still work for us today. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on my next video. Thank you.